The war was over, or at least it felt like it. Smoke still rose from the burned-out buildings on Caldus Prime, one of the last strongholds of the Free Coalition. The sky was dark, not from night but from ash and fire. All across the ruins, the signs of defeat were clear. Dead fighters, broken machines, and crushed hopes lay in the dust. Claire Monroe lay hidden under a collapsed wall, her arm bleeding, her breath short. She was one of the last. Her squad was gone. The Queen's men had stormed the base with fire and steel, killing without mercy. Claire had watched her best friend fall right in front of her. She could do nothing but hide. The radio on her belt was cracked but still working. She held it close and sent out a weak signal, not even sure it would reach anyone. Her voice was rough as she spoke. To anyone out there, this is Claire Monroe. Caldus Prime has fallen. We need help. ... double quotes. She paused, then added, or at least. Far across space, on a small, rusty freighter, flying alone, a voice came through an old speaker. Logan Brooks was at the controls, feet up, wrench in hand, fixing a loose panel. The message crackled through. He listened, then stood up slowly. He had left the war behind long ago. Left the blood, the lies, the Queen's rule. But hearing Claire's voice changed something. He remembered the fire in people's eyes before the Queen crushed it. He remembered building machines to protect, not destroy. And he remembered his own shame. Without a word, Logan set course for Caldus Prime. His freighter shook as it jumped through space. The ship was old, patched with scrap and luck, but it still flew. It had no weapons, no shields worth talking about, but it had something more important. Logan. When he landed near the ruins, no one came to meet him. The place looked like death itself. But he walked forward, not with fear, but with purpose. In one hand, he held a small pistol. In the other, he carried the same wrench he had used during the early days of the war. And somewhere in that broken city, a spark of hope waited to be found. Logan Brooks moved through the ruins with steady steps. The wind carried the smell of smoke and metal. The ground was covered in dust and broken pieces of machines. He looked around, his eyes sharp and careful. His freighter stood behind him, still humming, but silent now. He did not come here to fight, came to find someone. He followed the weak signal on his tracker. He blinked slowly, pointing him toward a large piece of the fallen base. A wall had crushed half the room. He stepped over metal beams and wires, pushing aside broken panels. Then he heard a cough, faint but real. Logan dropped to one knee and pulled away the debris. Underneath, he found Claire Monroe. She was pale, bleeding, and barely awake. Her eyes opened just enough to see his face. "You're real," she said, her voice low. "I am," Logan replied. "Let's get you out of here." Lifted her carefully and carried her back to his ship. Inside, the freighter was small, but clean. He laid her on a bunk and wrapped her arm in cloth. He used tools and spare parts to power the medkit. It buzzed to life and began to close her wounds. Claire watched him work. "You're Logan Brooks," she said. "Used to fight for the Queen." "I used to fix things," he answered. "Then I saw what I helped build." Claire sat up slowly. "Why are you here?" "Heard your signal," he said. "I thought maybe it was time to stop running." Outside, the sun was rising over Caldus Prime, lighting up the smoke and broken buildings. It was not a good place, but it was still theirs. Claire looked at him with new eyes. "Everyone's gone," she said. "The war's lost." "Not yet," Logan said. "If you're alive, it's not over." He walked to a storage locker and opened it. Inside were tools, old drones, and parts of machines. Nothing special. But to Logan, it was more than enough. He picked up his wrench again. "We don't need big weapons to fight back," he said. "We just need to fix what's broken." Claire looked at the tools, then at him. She nodded once. Then the real work began. The days that followed were not easy. Logan and Claire stayed hidden in the wreckage of Caldus Prime. The Queen's men had already left, thinking nothing was left alive. But inside the broken base, something was starting to grow. Not an army, not yet, but a plan. Logan worked with his hands from sunrise to night. He rebuilt old drones, fixed power lines, and repaired broken machines that the enemy had left behind. Claire helped as much as she could. Her wounds were healing, and her spirit was stronger each day. She watched him work and began to learn. He showed her how to fix a broken power core using wires from a crashed fighter. He taught her how to reprogram a scout drone with a simple chip and a battery. They were not building weapons, they were building tools. Tools that could move unseen, tools that could carry messages, and tools that could strike when the time was right. One night, while Logan was working on a small flying drone, Claire looked at him and asked, "Why do you carry a wrench and not a gun?" Logan smiled. "Guns break things. Wrenches fix them. Right now, the galaxy is broken. I want to fix it." Claire nodded. She understood now. This man was not like the others. He was not loud or proud, did not wear a uniform, but he was strong in his own way. Far away on a dark command ship, the Queen's new officer, Nolan Drake, studied reports from Caldus Prime. He saw strange signs, power spikes, missing patrols. Signals from drones that should not be active? He frowned. "Something is moving out there," he said. He ordered scouts to return to the ruins and search again. No one was allowed to rise from the ashes. The Queen's rule had to stay unchallenged. Back on Caldus Prime, Logan finished welding a metal door. Behind it, a hidden room was full of working machines. Lights blinked, screens glowed, and small drones floated gently in the air. "We have enough now," Claire said. "To start." Logan nodded. He looked out across the dead city. "It's not about how many we are," he said. "It's about how ready we are when they come back." And soon they would come. Queen Celeste Varel sat on her high throne inside the tall black tower on Varellos. Her face was calm, but her eyes burned with cold fire. She watched a screen showing the map of the galaxy. Most of the stars were under her control. Her flag flew on every planet. Her soldiers ruled with fear and steel. But one place was not quiet: Caldus Prime. Reports said there was movement there. Someone had reactivated the broken base. Drones were flying again. Power signals had returned. Small patrols had not come back. It was nothing big, but it was enough to catch her eye. She stood and looked at her top general, Nolan Drake. He was tall, strong, and loyal. He had followed her since the beginning. "Go to Caldus Prime," she said. "Find who is behind this and crush them. No one rises after I break them." Nolan bowed. "It will be done." Back on Caldus Prime, Logan was ready. He had built traps, hidden tunnels, and placed drones in the sky. He had also repaired a long-range radio and sent out a signal to any free fighters left across the stars. Not to beg for help, but to tell them that someone was still standing. Claire stood beside him, watching the sky. She wore a jacket from an old fighter and carried a small pistol on her belt. Her eyes were sharp now. "They will come soon," she said. "Out." Logan nodded. "Let them come." The first ships landed the next day. Black and sharp, they dropped into the broken city. Nolan Drake stepped out with his men, walking over bones and dust. They found the base empty. Too quiet. Then the traps hit. Old power lines exploded under their feet. Drones dropped small bombs from the air. Fake signals led them into dead ends. One by one, Nolan's men fell into the traps. But Nolan was not a fool. Changed his path, moving fast and strong. He reached the heart of the base and kicked down a steel door. Inside, he found no army. It's just Logan, standing alone with a wrench in his hand. "You," Nolan said. "I built your war once," Logan answered. "Now I'll break it." And the fight began. The battle inside the broken base was fast and loud. Logan moved like a shadow through smoke and fire. His wrench hit hard, breaking weapons, smashing armor, and stopping machines. Nolan Drake was strong, trained for war, and full of rage. Fired his rifle at Logan, but Logan rolled behind a wall, wires and sparks flying everywhere. Claire was above, watching from a high spot. She used a small control pad to guide the drones. One by one, they flew through the halls, dropping charges on the enemy. Her hands shook, but her aim was good. She had learned fast. Logan and Nolan fought hand-to-hand in the control room. Metal hit metal, fists hit walls, blood hit the floor. Nolan grabbed Logan and threw him across the room. Logan crashed into a console, gasping for air. "You're nothing but a man with a wrench," Nolan shouted. Logan stood up, blood on his face. He held the wrench tight. "That's all I need," he said. He ran forward and hit Nolan's weapon, breaking it in half. Then he hit the power box on the wall. The lights went out. Only the red lights stayed on. The base was now dark and full of fire. Outside, Claire saw more enemy ships landing. Too many. She sent the call again on the radio. "This is Claire Monroe. Caldus's prime is under attack. We are fighting. If you hear this, you are not alone. Come if you can." The signal reached old fighters hiding across the stars. Some were in caves, some in deep space, some on ruined worlds. They heard her voice and turned their ships toward Caldus Prime. Inside the base, Logan and Nolan kept fighting.
All night.
Nolan was strong, but Logan was faster. He knew the base. He knew every wire, every wall, every trap.
He tricked Nolan into chasing him into a small room. When Nolan stepped in, Logan hit a switch. The door closed, locking him inside. "You lose," Logan said through the speaker. Nolan slammed his fists on the glass, but it did not break. Claire ran to Logan's side. Her eyes were wide. "It will come again," she said. "Let them," Logan said. "Now they know we're not done yet." The signal from Caldus Prime spread faster than anyone thought. Across space, hidden ships came back to life. Old fighters repaired their engines. Broken weapons were fixed. Messages were passed from one system to the next. The name Logan Brooks began to rise again. Some called him the man with the wrench. Others called him the spark. More people joined him. Not soldiers, but farmers, workers, and old rebels. They came with weak ships and rusty gear, but they came with fire in their hearts. They brought metal, fuel, and parts. Logan and Claire used every piece. They built new drones, strong shields, and smart traps. The Queen watched this from her tower. Her face was calm, but her hands were tight. Her rule had never been touched like this before. She saw systems whispering about freedom. She saw people standing up. And behind it all, she saw Logan's face. She called for her full army to prepare. She ordered the walls of Varellos to be raised higher. Every ship was to guard the throne. Every man was to follow orders. No weakness, no delay. She looked out the window and spoke. This time, he will not escape. Back on Caldus Prime, Logan stood with Claire on a hill. Around them, people were building new machines. Sparks flew, engines roared, and voices laughed for the first time in years. Claire handed Logan a small chip. "This came from the Queen's own code," she said. "We can use it to break her shield." Logan looked at the chip, then at the stars. "Then we go to her," he said. They sent out the message. All free ships were to meet above Varellos. The Queen's capital would be their final goal. No turning back, no fear. The answer came fast. Thousands replied. They would stand together. The fleet moved like a wave. From all corners of space, they came. Ships of all sizes, old and new. Drones flew ahead. Fighters flew close. Caldus Prime was now empty. All eyes were on Varellos. Logan stood at the front of the lead ship. His wrench was strapped to his belt. Claire stood beside him, ready. The time had come, not to hide, not to wait, but to bring the fight to the Queen herself. The battle over Varellos lit up the sky like fire. The Queen's army waited in full force, ready to crush anyone who dared to rise. Her warships formed a wall around the planet. Cannons fired without rest, but the rebel fleet did not stop. They moved as one, fast and strong. Logan's ship led the way. Claire sat at the controls, her hands steady. Behind them, fighters dodged blasts and broke enemy lines. Drones swarmed like bees, hitting weak spots. Every ship had a task. Every pilot knew what was at stake. On the surface, the Queen watched from her tower. She gave orders without fear. Her voice was sharp. Her guards stood ready. The throne room shook, but she did not move. Logan's ship landed near the tower, under heavy fire. Smoke filled the sky. He stepped out with a team behind him, his wrench in hand. Claire followed with a small device that held the code to break the Queen's shield. They ran through broken streets and burning walls. The Queen's guards tried to stop them, but they were outmatched. The rebels moved fast, using every trick Logan had taught them. The team reached the tower and climbed floor by floor, fighting the whole way. At the top, Logan faced the Queen alone. Her guards lay defeated. The throne room was silent. She stood tall in her black armor, her sword in hand. "You were a builder once," she said. "You could have ruled beside me." "I build to help," Logan said, "not to rule." She charged. The fight was hard. Her sword was sharp and quick. Logan blocked with his wrench, turning and striking. Metal clashed. Sparks flew. Each blow told the story of their past. He had built her machines. Now he was breaking them. Claire reached the control panel and used the chip. The shield over the city failed. The rebel fleet moved in. Victory was near. The queen made one last strike, but Logan caught her arm and pushed her back. She fell, her sword slipping away. "It's Ader," he said. Later in the center of the city, the people gathered. The throne was gone. In its place stood a simple stand. On it was Logan's wrench. A sign below read, "The man who fixed what others broke."